Okay, so we are going to update the firmware on this brand new Helix LT. The software is quite out of date on this one. In fact, let's just fire it up and we'll have a look at it. The current software is, actually let's go back here. Current version is 3.01.0 and we're on 2.30.0 on the Helix. Just going to let that boot up and we're just going to turn that off. You heard the computer recognise that something was plugged in and now it isn't. So we are first of all going to download the firmware. I think I already did it earlier, but we're going to do it anyway. Only 5 meg. Accept and download. As I say, I think we've already done it. Okay, so that is downloaded there. Okay, now there should be some updater software. There we go. Now I had problems downloading this. Free download. Okay. Let's have a look at. That's what it's for, so it should be fine, but I was not getting a good download when I tried earlier. So it's downloading a .dmg file. I have absolutely no idea what that is or what it's supposed to do. Let's see what I've already installed, if I did. No, I've not installed any Line6 stuff. Well, whilst that's downloading, and I've no idea why it's that slow, I'm not sure what network I've signed on to, but there's something not quite right there. Let's go back to the manual and have we got a copy of the manual on this, or have we got another cock up? No, it's not plugged in now, is it? So I'm not going to be able to look at that. Nope, I don't think I've downloaded it before. Oh, maybe. Okay, here we go. Updating the firmware. Let's just. Okay, so what we actually seem to need is the HX Edit software. Okay, now did we... I'm going to stop that download, I think. Get rid of that. I'm pretty sure we installed the HX Edit software somewhere else, did we? Okay, so we need the HX Edit software, so let's find that. HX Edit. Oh, I don't know why it wasn't listed when we looked at it a minute ago. HX Edit, there we go. So, masses of information about what's changed. 89 meg download, so this should be an exe file hopefully. Perhaps we'll get a bit further this time. Yeah, .exe, so that's fine. and quite a speedy download this time. Okay, so let's open the folder. There it is. We'll right click, properties, unblock, okay, and then right click, run as administrator, and we'll install this. Okay, so I'm assuming then, in theory, we can just run that. Okay, there's an HX Edit Pilot's Guide for full instructions as well. Let's, and that's strange, the Line6 update has also been installed automatically by the HX Edit. So let's run the HX Edit first of all, as that's what Line6 are telling us to run. No device connected. Okay, well let's fire it up. Well, that still says no device connected. That is annoying. Got to sign into this, and unfortunately my password manager won't work on that, so that is a pain in the arse. I'm going to have to manually type that in. Let's try the updater, see if that makes any difference. And again I've got to log in here, and again my password manager won't work on that, so what a complete pain in the arse. I think we're going to have to start this again perhaps. Maybe we need to do something with the Helix. Let's have a little look. Yeah, absolutely no idea. I would have thought that would have been recognised. Maybe if we close it again, it will recognise it. Strangely, Windows didn't say that it had recognised the device. Okay, so looks like running it again has allowed that to come back on. Let's just minimise that. I don't know whether that's being recorded or not. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So at the bottom here it tells you that the Current version is the 2.3. Now how do we actually update? Could be that I'm going to have to log in. I'd rather just update it without needing to log in, but yeah, and I can't remember what my username or password is, so we're going to have to look on the other computer. Okay, no doubt I can blur this out in a minute. Okay, so that's happily logging in. Okay, an update is available. Would you like to update now? Absolutely, we want to update now. Create a backup. Well, it's brand new, so I'm really not interested in backing it up. There's nothing on there. No, it still wants to create that backup. Just going to put it into a Helix backup file, and yeah, it's backing up everything now. Transferring data is what we've got on the Helix screen. Hopefully that is recording okay. I think it is. I really don't know why they bothered wasting money sending out a USB drive with the user manual on it. Backup completed successfully. Another massive agreement to sign. Just click OK. It will now update it and update. Okay. Oh, here we go. Updating to Helix 2.80 or greater firmware. With the addition of the Command Center hotkeys feature, updating to this release requires resetting the device twice. Line6 updater will reset your device halfway through the update process. At this time, your device will display an error message. Do not be alarmed, this is expected. Click OK to start the update. Jeez. Okay, well, you can see that. Rebooting device to prepare for the update. Unfortunately, oh, here we go. I was going to say there's no sign of progress, but now there is. Installing device firmware. Quite sure when it's going to be asking to be switched off and back on again. this black matte black finish is really going to show the dirt. It's only been out here in the workshop for a couple of hours with nothing much going on, and there's already fluff and dust all over it. Now, I did find, I was looking for a screen protector and I found a company, can't remember the name, I'll probably do a video on it, but they supply a what looks like some sort of acrylic or perspex clear protector for the whole machine. So I've got that on order and hopefully it will be here over the next couple of days. So yeah, that might be interesting. I know Glenn DeLune on YouTube also sells screen protectors on their own, but they don't seem to be readily available unless I've been looking in the wrong places. I follow Glenn, I'm sure a lot of you do. We've got some fantastic sound packs available for the Helix and a number of other models. Very impressive guitarist. Takes a lot of work, I think, producing all of the sounds that he sells on his website. I'll put a link to Glenn's YouTube channel and his website. Actually, I suspect I'll be purchasing off of him sometime soon. I had considered buying the Boss GT1000, but having had a Boss GT, oh god, was it a GT4, GT5 about 20 years ago, never that impressed with the sound. Just didn't quite do it for me. I really hope that things have improved massively. Certainly what everybody says at the moment, that all of these different makes and models have excellent sound and capabilities. They're just all very slightly different, but I'm hoping the results will be really good. I'm looking forward to finding out. So it looks like this video is going to be fairly lengthy. Seems to be stuck at 33% at the moment. We're on battery power for the laptop, so it's fully charged, so hopefully there'll be no filming issues. The battery of the camera, on the other hand, is looking a bit low. Just going to plug that in and hope it doesn't cock up the recording. No, I think that's still recording, is it? So yeah, plug the mains adapter in. We're up to 47%, 48. I also didn't realise that there is a looper built into the Helix. I don't think it's very long. I think it's only, perhaps 60 seconds, but an interesting feature to discover, especially having just bought the RC500. Oh, here we go. Updating UIMCU. Boot failure. This is what it said it was going to do. You can safely ignore the error message. A Line6 update will reset your device again when the update is complete. Click OK to continue. Well, there is no click OK. I've only got update. That's a bit stupid, isn't it? They can't even get the click OK to continue the update bit right. You've only got update, so there's no OK, is there? Resetting or resuming firmware update, and it's started again on the Helix. I'm just going to call this Helix, I think, in future rather than Helix LT. The internals are exactly the same, apart from a few missing outputs and inputs and things like that, but the rest of it is the same as the Helix, the full-blown Helix, which is substantially more money than this. And once again, we have made full use of the interest-free payments on this particular website that we purchased this from. Klarna, I think that you've probably heard of them recently in the news. Everybody's saying it's unregulated, and you can get yourself into all sorts of trouble with these buy now pay later or buy over 3 instalments plans. But I like it. I think it's great. I've split the payment up over 3 months, interest free. I can't argue with that. It saves me waiting a little longer or spending all the available cash in one go. A bit of protection as well. I can't remember what it was, but I bought something. Well, I think it was the FCB 1010. I think that was on a buy now, pay in a month. It gives you a good chance to get it back home, tested, and make sure everything's okay before you actually pay. So a little bit of added protection there, I would think. So this really is taking its time, isn't it? We're on 57% now. Really sure why you can download the firmware and everything if it does it all on its own like this automatically. Seems a fairly pointless process if you can just run this HX edit all the time and it takes care of everything. I believe you can use the HX edit completely to control, make all of the changes on the Helix rather than touch any of the buttons on the machine itself. It might be interesting on this Huawei as it's got a touch screen. I was going to get out one of the old laptops just specifically for running next to the Helix, but actually the touch screen Huawei, or I've got a Samsung Book with Windows 10 on it, again touch screen obviously. Might be more useful to use one of those two. So I think we'll base that decision on how busy the actual screen is, and obviously the Samsung Book is smaller than the Huawei screen, so we'll just have to see what works with what best. Or it may be that the actual Helix ends up on a small table in front of me. I may get rid of the Cyber Twin out of the equation and have room in front of me. Not convinced this is going to be used on the floor. I suspect it will be on some sort of table or stand. I'll have to see what stands are up to the job of holding this. Maybe have different control pedals as well. I've got the FCB 1010, obviously that will be on the floor. Yeah, quite a lot to work out. I think the next stage will be get everything out of the way from the monitor speakers and get this plugged in and get a guitar plugged in and give it a go. There's there's hundreds of videos on the Helix, and there's some useful ones about first things you should do about altering the settings and levels and things before you start playing. The last thing you want to do is plug this in and be very disappointed with the sounds that come out. So there's going to be tweaking to suit. I think they call them full range flat response speakers. Hoping mine are up to the job. Certainly everything I've put through them so far has been fine. Okay, so update complete. The Helix looks like it is rebooting. 3.01.0. It's rebuilding all of the presets. Now, I thought it said 3.2, but I'm obviously wrong, unless it's updating to this first. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. I just can't remember the version number. So it's just rebuilding all of the presets at the moment. And then it's going to reconnect to HX Edit in a minute. don't even know how many presets there are. So we've got the manuals. We will be reading both of the manuals. They're around 80 pages each. Unfortunately I didn't bring them out with me, and we'll be looking at this sheet at some point. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. It explains, I don't know whether I can get this in front of the screen, but it explains what the input blocks, processing blocks and output blocks actually look like, and looks like, and gives them a name. So that's going to be a handy sheet to have up on the wall next to me, I think. Well, presets were up to 163. It's absolutely fantastic the way this technology has improved over the years, from the first time I started with the guitar ports. That really is a piece of junk now, but it was considered pretty clever back in the day. When the Cyber Twin came out, I was really excited. It was a super expensive amp, £1,200. I think it came out in 1999. I think I bought mine in 2000. I can't even remember where it came from. But unfortunately, I don't think it ever really took off, despite the fact that it had a couple of valves in the preamp section. I don't really think it got a lot of converts from full-blown tube amps, which was a shame. It was fantastically clever technically, but it really rarely got updated. I think I only ever ran one update. I think it's been pretty much ditched, isn't it, but now by Fender. The tuner always sucked on it. I was never very impressed with that. That seemed to be yeah, it just didn't do a good job. I believe that was updated in later versions, and they also released a Fender Cyber Twin. Was it the SE? It had horrible silver plastic trims around the screen and bits and pieces like that. Didn't look very nice. So I suspect I'll keep it. I also bought a second Cyber Twin amp shell, and I put the Line6 Quadriverb in it and the Behringer tuner, and that sits on top of the amp. It takes up a hell of a lot of space. You imagine two Cyber Twins, one on top of each other. It's a lot of space taken up. I'm hoping the tuner in the Helix is good, so I can get rid of the Behringer tuner. It's a rack tuner, and hoping also that well, probably we can get rid of the Cyber Twin at some point. They don't seem to be going for very much on eBay, and the one I've got was it's bought about 6-7 years ago. It actually came from a professional musician, and it was used, believe it or not, in the 2012 Osmonds tour. There's a YouTube video of this guy I bought it from actually on stage with the Cyber Twin just in the background, and it's pretty well used. It's pretty banged up, obviously. It's been toured with, and there was a couple of bits that I didn't realise weren't working. One of the things was the headphone socket. Although the headphones were working, it's supposed to mute the sound out of the Cyber Twin, and it was a few years before I realised that it didn't mute the sound. Eventually I stripped it down, and we found a transistor had failed. It was a very simple fix in the end. I think I did a video on YouTube about that. Well, we are up to preset 1,024 presets. Right, there we go. So that is now saying update complete. Okay, so that is done. Back to Helix HX Edit, and think we're done. Logged in and online. Tells me the firmware down the bottom there, and wow, let's just click on one of these. So it needs a double click. Yeah, so you can see I'm double clicking on the angle meteor, and that is changing. It looks like it's showing me all the different, actually I'm not sure what that is showing me. Let's go back to that. Yeah, don't know. We're going to have to read up on the manuals, but I really just wanted to get this updated. Not sure, is there a way of checking again? Check for updates. It's up to date with firmware version 3.01. Okay, so we are done. So I think we'll call that video a day there, and that was how to update a brand new Helix LT.